we are looking into at least having all the Kenya Cup sides have a women's side. So it is something that is actually on the pipeline. Then apart from that one also, we are trying to urge the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association to actually take up the girls' games as part of one of their disciplines that they actually, because they normally have a calendar whereby they have all games being played, but you've realized that we actually don't have
you mentioned their calendar, and when we talk about Kenya secondary schools, we are talking about the Kakamegas, yes. Kakamega high schools, we are talking about the upper hills, not forgetting Jericho, not forgetting Liza Hill. There are no ladies teams per se. Is that the direction you're taking in terms of encouraging them to also have ladies?
Yeah, actually, what people don't realize is that even in the school secondary games, the KCCA games, the Kenya Rugby Union actually was the first to, again, try the demonstrational games before they actually took it over. Because if you recall back, we used to have the sevens, the under-19 sevens, which used to be played in Dubai. And that usually used to be the school that wins, actually used to get that as a reward for actually doing well. Then with time, the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association took it up. So it is actually the same thing that we're actually doing. We are nurturing the baby, and then we'll give it up to the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association once it's grown up, so that they can actually continue with it. Because if you look at it, the coverage that they have is quite big. And that means that if they pick it up, then we'll not be able to actually worry about the players that we have, because more people will be playing, and definitely you'll get the best out of numbers. You normally get a lot of good players. So yeah, basically that's the state.
An incentive indeed in terms of going to Dubai for the under-19s. I remember those times, and every team would give it their best to at least get that ticket to Dubai. Imoqin, who are Northern Suburbs?
Northern Suburbs is my club, and my family also, because rugby is not just a team, you become a community together. We are based on Thika Road in Survey, and we have a legacy as a club of winning, but at the moment we're working towards rebuilding our club and creating something with the younger girls, bringing ourselves up together on our own. We're self-sponsored at the moment. We're recently developing a new online media presence with social media. We've developed our own merchandise. So we're really looking to build independent women who can look after themselves through using rugby as a tool.
Rugby will always be used in terms of bringing people together, and here in Kenya, rugby has a very good following, big following in terms of making us one, and when we go out there, we are the best fans across the world when it comes to supporting our very own rugby team. That's the Shujaa, and we really hope that our women's side will also be in the circuit in the near future, so that it's an all-round team. Joyce, Top Fry Nakuru ladies team. You train in Nakuru, everything in Nakuru, then you travel when such tournaments come up, or what's the framework like?
Yes, Top Fry Nakuru ladies is based in Nakuru. We are the ladies side for the Top Fry Nakuru men. So we train in Nakuru at the Nakuru Athletics Club. Most of our players are based in Nakuru, apart from a few who study in Nairobi. So all our trainings are in Nakuru, all our sessions are in Nakuru, all our players live in Nakuru. It's only when we have tournaments that we travel, and up until recently we were the only ladies team from outside Nairobi. So, yes.
What about the ladies side? Is it homeboys? Yes. They have a lady side that is equally good. I remember seeing them play in the circuit, 7th circuit last season, and it's like they were picking like everything. Is it going to be part of the 7th circuit to ensure that the Northern Suburbs, Top Fry Nakuru ladies team also make sure that they are part of the 7th circuit to help popularize and also nurture and bring up women's rugby?
Yeah. Actually, what we're doing at the moment is we have women festivals in different formats. You have the 10-a-side, then we have the 15-a-side franchise, then we're going to have the 7-a-side festivals, and then again we're going to fall back again to the 15-a-side festivals during the Impala Floodlights. Then again we're introducing the 12-a-side festivals. So it is one of the things that we've actually ensured that we put in the calendar. They're actually festival per se because we still don't have sponsorship for the leagues. What we are currently doing is Kenya Rugby Union is picking up the tab for everything, and we're just appealing to sponsors to actually come on board and to ensure that we actually grow this game. Because all that ladies need is just to be given a chance, and they have showcased it that they can actually be as competitive as men.
Here we are still talking about the state of women rugby. Imoqin, earlier on we were talking about the New Zealand rugby team, ladies team, that seems not to be winning and to be losing. And Aballa mentioned that they can count their losses more than their wins, which means that the losses are not as many. Then I asked, and I still ask, will they be beaten anytime soon?
I think when you talk about New Zealand rugby, you have to look at the culture that comes behind it. And when you have such an ingrained culture in a society, it's unbeatable. And now the Ferns, as they're called, the women's sevens, they're professional, they're getting paid as far as I know. And with full backing from their nation and financial support and support from the heart as well, there's no stopping them, I don't think.
There's no stopping them anytime soon. They are the best when it comes to women's rugby. Let's talk about, the Kenya Rugby Union Women's Tennis-side Festival that was at KU, Top Fry in Nakuru. You are the champions. You won it. How was it? Don't talk about the scores, please. But let's just talk about the tournament in general. How was the festival?
The festival was a good experience. We saw so many upcoming teams like Kisumu Dolphins. We had Egerton. That was a very good thing. They had to come and show us that at least it's not only the 4 known teams that are out there. We also have other young and upcoming teams. So the festival was good. As you said, Nakuru won. It was a very good experience for us because all our life, all through, we have always wanted to come and be unbeaten in all the games that we play, and that is what we saw. So right now we're just working on winning the rest because we can't blow our horns and it's only the first leg. We just have to wait for the other legs. Yes.
It's easy to become number one, but it's not easy to maintain it. Imoqin, I don't want to talk much, but I know you guys reached the semi-finals, which means, you are fighting for a medal, having made it to the last 4 of the tournament. What were some of the learnings that you picked out of the festival?
I think there were a lot of lessons learned. We actually played Top Fry in the semi-finals, and I think we learned that fitness is one, and we know the Nakuru girls take their fitness very seriously. So we've taken that lesson away, and in fact we had training this morning. That's where I've come from. And we're also, it's the first weekend of the season, getting back into it, brushing the dust off the shelves, waking ourselves up. So we have 2 weeks between weekends of playing. So those 2 weeks we're implementing those lessons.
You've mentioned, intensive training. Before I go to Aballa, I'll come back to you, Joyce.
Yes.
What kind of physical trainings do you go through? Because if I go through what I see the men's teams go through, then I would really wonder if the ladies also go through the same. It must be so intense.
Yes, the training is so intense, but we thank God we've been blessed with very good strength and conditioning coaches because you have to condition. With Nakuru, what we usually say is if you go out and play, remember you're playing on a Sunday, and on Monday you either have to be at work or in the classroom. So you have to play, perform, and be conditioned well enough to perform in class and at work. Yes. So we have good coaches, they help us. We have the strength and conditioning. We go to the gym, apart from the normal training. We also have our own personal road work that we do. That's where we get our fitness from.
So it's both on and off the pitch conditioning.
Yes,
that's critical.
It's on and off the pitch.
Imoqin, the diet. There are those who believe that rugby players go through a lot of training, as in when it's food time, meal time. Happen to heshimiane. They can take as much, but I believe there is a discipline on what you eat as well.
There is. It's interesting you asked me that question. Since last February, I've reduced 42 kilos. So I used to be a much bigger rugby player.
42
Imagine,
kilos.
yeah. But I'm much faster on the pitch, and so it's made me realize that rugby, it's not all about eating everything you can and being the heaviest on the pitch. you have to be able to do something with that power. You have to be able to move with that power and, you know, lead people, carry the ball, pass, run. So you have to eat a lot, but you also have to eat right. Yeah.
You have to eat a lot, and you also have to eat right, not just taking anything that comes your way, because by the end of the day, your health status must also be at the top in terms of being productive and being a good player. Nicholas, here we are. You know, when we look at the structure, you've come up with the festival, you know, the 10-a-side festival. Then you're also looking at other developmental, you know, programs to support, you know, the women rugby in the country. Talk to us about the festival.
Yeah, the festivals, we actually have 6 festivals this year. The first one has already taken place at Kenyatta University. The next one is going to take place at KCB Grounds, Ruaraka. The coming Sunday, that's the 17th. Then again, we come back to Ngong Road at the RFUA grounds. Then we go to Impala. Then we go to Nakuru Athletics Club. Then again, we'll go back to Nakuru Athletics Club during the Great Rift 10-a-side. So that is basically how the festivals have been put in place. Then if you look at it, we are actually giving a provision for other teams also coming outside of Nairobi, to actually get to experience and see that actually other ladies are playing. That's why this time around we have 2 legs outside of Nairobi. Also to cater for Nakuru. They always come all the way from Nakuru to Nairobi during all those weekends. So we also want the other teams also to actually travel also, see the other side, also experience what Nakuru experienced. But apart from that one is majorly to bring in publicity. Once people see the ladies playing, then you get the younger ones are being encouraged. Apart from that one, through our Get Into Rugby program, we have a girls-specific Get Into Rugby program, whereby these are mostly the under-18s. For the under-13s, we normally have a mixed program whereby you have both boys and girls playing together with an element of touch rugby, whereby it's not basically more of the contact part of it, but it's just taking them gradually from not knowing how to play up to the level of actually knowing how to play and actually stay in the game. So that is in a nutshell how we've structured it, and that is how we are going to...
What's the difference between rugby and touch rugby? Because touch rugby is getting so famous, and most corporates opt for touch rugby. What's the difference?
Basically, the difference is instead of a tackle, a touch has substituted the tackle. So when someone is touched, then that is a tackle that has been made. So yeah, the player has to again restart somehow. Yeah, so basically that's the main difference. But apart from that one, it is used more for publicity and for also introducing people who actually have no any idea about the game.
But the rules are just the same.
The rules are just the same. The offside lines are probably what might be different, because there are people who, yes, they use the normal rules, but sometimes they use the ball as the offside line. So probably those are the small differences.
It must be lots of fun,
Yes.
lots and lots of fun.
Exactly.
Imoqin, you've mentioned something that has really caught you know, me, losing 42 kilos.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of discipline.
It does.
In terms of what you eat, in terms of your training, your schedule, everything.
Yeah.
What does one take to, you know, to get to that level?
So I have a very good personal trainer called Stefan Augustine. He also happens to be a rugby coach for another club. And he gets me to train every morning, Monday through Friday. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I'm training with Northern Suburbs. And then during the week, I'm at work, but I also am watching what I eat. So I have a calorie-restricted diet, which makes it extra complicated now when rugby players have a large diet, but because I'm trying to lose weight, I have a reduced diet. So it's a lot of balancing and juggling, and but thank God it's working.
It's working.
Yes.
What's your target, or you've met and exceeded?
No, my target now, my target has never been a weight, because what's great about being an athlete is you're not concerned with how you look or how people perceive you, you're concerned with what you can do with your body. And so for me, my target is to be the best player I can be, and And for that, I want to be strong. And I also want a bit of weight behind me as well.
Wow. It takes a lot of discipline, to get to that. Losing that number of kilos is no mean achievement. And of course, there are those who would discourage you by, a halfway point that you're losing too much, slow down. But it takes a lot of personal discipline to get there. Joyce, yes. Here we are. Lionesses seems to be, the target for Kenya Rugby, women players in the country.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself as a player in the next 5-10 years to come?
Well, I think I forgot to mention that I stopped playing. I'm currently a team manager for Top Fry Nakuru Ladies. So if I'm asked where I see myself as part of the management 10 years from now, it will be probably managing the Kenya Lioness.
Kenya Lionesses?
Yes.
But where do you see Kenya Lionesses in the next 5-10 years?
I think we will be competing more internationally because currently we have the African Championships and then a few of the IRB Sevens legs that we're usually invited to. But I'm hopeful that in 10 years to come, we are going to be a constant figure in the IRB and all those women championships outside there. And we're also going to be proving and winning, not just appearing, but performing well and winning. Yes.
Performing well and winning, not just going to take part in a tournament, just going there. By the end of the day, you have to compete and make sure that you're no pushovers. Imoqin, where do you see yourself as a player in, say, 5-10 years to come? Are you likely to play professional?
The goal is, a few years ago, I played for the Kenya 15s against Uganda in the Elgon Cup. And I don't know if that's going to happen again, but that would be the absolute dream, to don the Kenya jersey and run out and represent this country. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, definitely.
Aballa, you can see both have dreams and all boils down to the Kenya Rugby Union in terms of supporting and ensuring that their dreams, as Lupita Nyong'o says, remain valid. Yes. Here we are looking at Kenya Lionesses competing at the biggest stage. She's looking at donning the national team colors again. We have so many tournaments. She's just mentioned the Elgon Cup. We have the African Championships coming up. We have the IRB invites, and stuff. What is the union now going to do to ensure that at least some of these dreams come to pass?
Yeah. First of all, if you look at our strategic plan, we've actually put in place the targets that we want to achieve, both as the national team and also for development. So first of all, actually, I believe in April in Hong Kong, we are actually it's going to be the HSBC qualifier, which we're actually taking part. It means if we win, I think I should say when we win, because I know we are going to win. I believe Kenya Lioness are actually doing good. They are my number one team, women's team. If we win that one, we get to be in the HSBC series. And I believe once we are there, it also acts as another good publicity point, and it draws in, I believe, some sponsors who will actually help the game grow. Second of all, we also have the Olympic qualifiers this same year. The Africa Women Sevens also doubles up as the Olympic qualifiers. So we actually have a very busy calendar this year. Other than that, Elgon Cup has always been there. And I believe now that we also have a lady CEO, Sylvia Kamau. I believe she's going to actually look into it and ensure that the game continues. It has been something that the union has actually been looking at. And there is also where we call into more sponsors to actually come in board to actually help us achieve some of these goals. It boils down to funding at the end of the day. Also, if you look at it also, the director in charge of development, that is James Mango, and the one in charge of women's rugby, Hilary Taylor, they are busy trying to push and ensure that all the women activities are actually taking place, and also to ensure that all the development activities, that is the age grade activities, are actually taking off.
All right, interesting there, because all systems are in place in terms of ensuring that the women get the support that they need from Kenya Rugby Union. Different offices within the union trying to work hard to ensure that by the end of the day, the support that is needed from corporates, from all stakeholders is given, and we get a very strong team in the future. Let me start with you, Joyce. You've now won the 10-a-side, festival. What's the push for your team to retain the title and, any other title that comes up? What's the strategy?
Right now, we are aiming at winning, let's say winning the remaining legs so that you can win the main cup for the Women's 10-a-side Festival. And then after that, we're just hoping that this will be the year that we win, let's say, all the trophies in the cabinet, in the KRU cabinet, because of late, we've been performing and winning one tournament, and then the next one you don't win, and then the ladies go home and they're like, we have to win everything. So we're hoping this year will be the year that we go home with all the trophies.
This year will be the year that they win all the trophies. I don't think Imoqin would, let that go. Imoqin,
No.
I know you must also be, as Northern Suburbs, looking at, winning the titles.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can't let them have it that easy. We have to put up a fight. I think when it comes to rugby, each weekend is different because everyone's learnt from the previous weekend. So you come back with new strategies, you've understood your opponent, like with all sports, and now you have new tactics to take them on. But I think, especially with taking home all of the trophies and clearing out the KRU cabinet, when you have 7s, 10s and 15s for rugby, each of them is a different sport. So where you might be strong in 7s, that same team is weaker in 15s. Because in 15s you need the bigger girls, and 7s you need the smaller, faster ones.
Nicholas, here we are. We are looking at. Let me first ask you, as a rugby fan, which one do you prefer, 15s or 7s?
I prefer all the versions.
I like your choice of words.
7s is very interesting because it's very fast and the time is quite short. 15s is a different ball game. It's all 80 minutes with different facets of the game and different body sizes. And then apart from that one, different physicality. Although right now you might say that even in the 7th game, the physicality has really taken up. So for me, I like all the versions of the game, 7s, 15s, 10s, 12.
Even the 10s?
Even the 10s.
Interesting. Now, talk to us about Get Into Rugby, because that's one of the things you're looking at in terms of promoting and bringing up women's rugby. Yeah,
actually Get Into Rugby is a World Rugby program. It's a World Rugby initiative in conjunction with its member unions, which Kenya Rugby Union is one. Basically, it is a way of taking someone who doesn't have any idea about rugby to a level whereby they can actually understand it, then they can actually play it, they can actually stay in the game. So basically you find you're taken progressively. It has actually 3 tenaces, that is try, play and stay, whereby in the try phase of it, there's actually no contact. Then when you come into the play part of it, now there is whereby now you're introduced into contact. Then on the stay part of it, you're now in a more of a competitive fixture. So here is whereby you'll either play and stay in the game, probably become a professional, or if not, you become a match official, you become a medical personnel, you become a fan, you become an analyst. So on the stay part of it, it's like the long-term plan of the game.
The long-term plan is what many would be looking at, because when we see a long plan that ensures there is consistency and there is continuity, then we will be talking about having consistent and having a consistent team in terms of delivering, and also everyone just living up and saying, you know what, this is the sport I want to be part of. Still with you, Nicholas, we are now looking at a point where, Kenya secondary schools, now is part and parcel, or is a very key partner with the union. You've mentioned age grades in this. Then we also know that currently we have the national under-20 team, men's team, that you did your selection the other day. How's that gone? Was the selection done, and is the team, getting ready to take part in the African Cup?
Yeah, I'll start from the point of the schools part of it. If you actually realize that Kenya Rugby Union is the federation actually in charge of the game in the country, and apart from that one, it's a stakeholder in the game itself. When you look at the Ministry of Education, which is actually in charge of sports in the country, they have their own calendar, and if you look at it, it shows that they have a wider outreach in terms of resources and in terms of the students who actually end up becoming players. So we get most of our under 20 players from actually the schools, and for that reason, I think the head coach Paul Odera always takes his time to ensure that all the players that are actually selected or scouted actually come from the schools. So basically, that is how it is at the moment, and I believe that the selection is still continuing. I think that he wants to have an inclusive squad that actually takes into consideration both the players at school and also the players who actually at that age category that are actually playing at the clubs.
Very good point there brought. One key problem that Kenyan rugby has had, gone are the days when the Asegos would do it, Biko Ademas would do it, is the fly halves, conversions, getting that 2 extra. Is it a problem for you guys as well at the northern suburbs?
Yeah, I think there's always work to be done. But the work is being done, definitely. And something in our club specifically that we're really working on is having utility players. So not just fly halves doing that specific responsibility, but everyone being able to maneuver and play multiple positions, because I think something that the women's clubs struggle with still, less so, but it's still a problem, is numbers, consistent numbers. So to have people who can play multiple positions and take on those different responsibilities is really key. Yeah. It's
key because getting those 2 extras will always be an added advantage to it. My director tells me we need to start winding up. Joyce.
Yes.
Kenyans are watching. Your team is watching as the team manager of Top Fry in Nakuru. What message would you have for them now as you give us your parting shot?
I think mine will be just a message of gratitude. I'd like to thank our sponsors, because our sponsors have played a very key role with the existence of our team. They've taken our players to school, so our players are playing and they're also in school, so we'd like to thank them. We'd also like to thank our coaches, because they dedicate their time, their energy, their effort to come and ensure that training is going on and the girls are trained. We'd like to thank the parents who allow their children to play. The parents who they're always there telling their children, go and play, go and train. If you really like it, you should do it. Because many people sit on their talent because they're afraid or they're not given the opportunity to. And we'd also like to thank our players, because without them, there won't be any game. So we are so grateful for them, and we urge them to continue following up with their passion.
Continue going through your passion, and you just never know where you could find yourself. Imagine there is a lady or a girl looking at you right now. What message would you have for her in terms of getting engaged and also being part of rugby? Because there are those who would want to, but probably they just fear the sport.
Very short message, which is why not? Why not? Who says you can't other than yourself?
It's a mentality thing.
Yeah, just go, just try, just do it, and 100% you'll love it, and you'll feel powerful and strong, and just why not?
Why not? Go out there, do it. Your parting shot?
Rugby is more than a sport. It's a lifestyle, it's a community, and if you're not part of it, you're missing out. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. If you're not part of it, you're missing out. Remember, like mentioned earlier on, the values that rugby, abhors. We have integrity, respect, solidarity, passion, and discipline, and that's what they're talking about. Aballa, you have the final word as the age grade and women rugby coordinator at Kenya Rugby Union. What would your parting shot be?
First of all, we want to thank you for giving us this opportunity. Second of all, we pray that you continue giving the women games this coverage. Mine is an appeal also to the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association to kindly include the women games, the girls games actually in their calendar. I'll also urge the Ministry of Education to actually look into it and ensure that also girls are given a fair chance to actually participate in the game. We have 5 more festivals which are actually still remaining, and we urge you all to actually come and show up. The next festival is actually at KCB, Waraka grounds. We are urging everyone to actually come and see the girls play and actually see it for themselves.
That's the future of Kenyan women rugby.